Hey all, thanks for stopping by. This is the Surviving Depression channel, where one guy who's struggled with depression and anxiety for a long time tries to share some of his story um, in hopes of raising awareness, reducing stigma, and hopefully starting a conversation and um, finding the value in peer support. I think there is a ton of opportunity in these conversations and in more people sharing their experiences. So thank you for stopping by. This video is going to be about my experience with ketamine IV treatments. It's also going to talk a little bit about my history with other medication and how I got there, and some messages about my thoughts on medication in general. So I guess I'll start with just saying for a long time I didn't think medication was right for me because I had a lot of thoughts about if medication changes my personality, if medication um, what does it mean to be on medication if it changes my personality? Just tons of thoughts and reasons for not wanting to try medication. I know people have different thoughts and reasoning for not trying medication. What I can say is this: now that I've tried it, and I started trying it maybe 15 years ago. It works. It works. So that's one thing that I want to say. It is an effective tool, especially when you're in a really bad place. So I started taking some medications, and one of the messages I want to share is I see people talking online about medications, taking them and then they stop being effective. That's an interesting conversation, which I would love people to share more of their experiences about. For me, my experience was I tried different medications for a long time, and nothing really seemed to have an impact. Then I tried one medication, which was Wellbutrin, that got me out of bed when I was in bed for 6 months. So that's how I knew medications really worked. I could feel at that time. I was like, this is probably how people who aren't dealing with depression, how their brains feel, function. So that's when I removed a lot of the stigma about medication. I was on that medication and another one for a long time. Now, for me, I don't think it stopped working. I just think I kind of plateaued in terms of I was able to get out of bed and I was able to function in different ways now. But then I hit another ceiling eventually, and I didn't realize it at the time, but I kept just hitting that ceiling because there were other things I needed to work on in my life. So it's not just medication, but it's medication and all the other tools. Medication is just one tool. Therapy, peer support, whether it's friends, family. I think peer support is one that we can really work on, to make peer support more readily available, especially the fact that some people don't have like the financial resources to approach some of these other avenues. So in my journey, I hit that ceiling, and I didn't realize for a while that I was hitting that ceiling. And it can be so easy to lose sight of when you're making progress versus when you're not. Which is why things like therapy, peer support, talking to friends are important. They can help give you perspective on the situation. That's super important, I think. So for me, the point that I'm trying to share is the medication didn't stop working. It just stopped matching up with where I was and my goals in life. I could get out of bed and I could go out into the world, and I did a lot of good things for myself. But after a while, some of these other unaddressed things, like social anxiety, just a lot of unaddressed things, I needed to start working on and putting more effort into working on. So that was one realization. So when I realized that, I started putting in the effort to do, use some of these other tools. But then I was also getting to places, and another thing I've learned is like the longer you, sometimes the longer you wait to figure out whether you're making progress or not, you can start getting yourself back into a deeper hole and into a depressive episode. That's kind of what happened with me. A lot of good things happen in life, but then some things kind of re-triggered my anxiety and my depression. So for me, it's just important to share that there's different tools. Medication in my case definitely worked. It's not without its pros and cons. There's things from medication that, side effects that and withdrawal effects that I'll probably live with. One of them that I will probably live with for a while. But for me, in my case, it was worth it. So, and the more experiences we share, the more we can figure out what works for different people, because different things work for different people, right? So on to, the ketamine experience and trying that. And I want to say I did it through a clinic. I did it, prescribed through a doctor and a clinic. I wanted to try something new when I started getting back into that depressive hole, and I needed something to, make sure I didn't end up in bed again for another 6 months. So the ketamine treatment that I did was 6 sessions over 6 weeks, and the treatment experience is basically going into a clinic. They put like a regular IV, and I'm there in like a reclining chair for an hour. That's the experience. And then have to have like somebody there to drive you home because of the effects of it. The actual effects kind of feel like they up the dosage after the first 3. The first few feel kind of just like if you've ever had laughing gas, just like a light anesthesia, kind of a good light feeling. And for the last 3, it was that, but just a lot stronger for the most part. Kind of being like a half asleep, dreamy state. I didn't get any of the psychedelic effects or anything like that. I didn't, which were concerning for me because those kind of things make me anxious. Those kind of experiences make me anxious. So for the most part, I had one very brief, kind of like a dream, but it was just a very weird feeling dream. And to be honest with you, it was a little bit concerning because of the content of the dream. It was just so weird, and it wasn't like a positive experience. It wasn't like a nightmare, but it was pretty brief, and it wasn't anything that I would say like, should make anybody feel like they shouldn't try it, just based on my experience. That was kind of my experience. So to get to maybe what the bottom line is, for me, I didn't have any lasting effects from the ketamine, both right after sessions, other than maybe like an hour or 2 where I felt a little bit more tired. I didn't have any lasting effects, positive or negative, after each session, and then also after the 6 weeks of treatment, I didn't see any pros or cons in terms of effects or benefits or anything like that. So I was a little bit, frustrated about that. What I want to say is the reason I tried ketamine was I did a lot of research online, and there is a lot of research that it is beneficial, and there's a lot of like stories from people. That's part of this. I hope more people are sharing their stories on what works and what doesn't work. I think it's important to share both sides. And I'm not in any way sharing this to be like, don't try it. I'm just sharing this to, like, the more people that share their stories, the more we can figure out, okay, what percentage of people does this work for? And yeah, just the more information we can have, the better off we are trying to figure out what works for everybody. So no part of this is to say, don't try it. I think everyone should do their research, and if it makes sense for you, because with any treatment, there's going to be, there's going to be risks, there's going to be costs, all that. But I was super hopeful in the beginning based on the research, not just like false hope to be like, I want to try anything that'll work. I did research, and I realized there was enough research to back it that it was worth giving a try, especially when I had tried a bunch of other stuff that hadn't worked. So I hope for other people that, of course, I hope some of these treatments work if you give them a try. I want people to find whatever works for them to get them out of this place, because it's not, dealing with depression, anxiety is very, very tough. So that was kind of my experience. I'm happy to answer questions if there's any questions about it, about my experience. That's what I'm here for, to share my experiences, but also what I always say is like, this isn't about me. This channel, this isn't about me. I'm not looking for like attention. If anything, I'm the type of person that doesn't like, the spotlight on me. I'm looking to get other people involved in the conversation, to hopefully make people feel heard, seen, understood, that like there's other people like you out there. That's been super beneficial for me, and there's other people going through this. And hopefully, the idea, I think we can help each other through peer support, through sharing our stories. That's what this is all about. So, again, medication is just one tool, amongst many different tools that can be helpful. So, hopefully this was somewhat helpful. Again, please feel free to reach out, share your story, questions, whatever, however I can help with through sharing my experience. If there's ways that I can help answer questions through my experience, I'm happy to do that. So thank you for watching. As always, be well and talk soon.